Welcome to episode 1 of Unsung Scientists, where we will explore people who made great discoveries in science without the fame. My name is Lisa Blake, and I'm your host today as we learn about our first unsung scientist, Rosalind Franklin. Rosalind Franklin was born to a well to do family in London, England in 1920. At the age of 15, Rosalind knew she wanted to be a scientist, so she attended an all girls school, which was one of the few institutions to teach chemistry and physics to girls. Her father discouraged her from following her interest to become a scientist because at that time it was very hard to enter the profession as a woman. But Rosalind continued her pursuit of scientific knowledge at Cambridge University, where she studied chemistry. Rosalind started her scientific career in Paris, France, with French scientist Jacques Marnin. Here she learned X-ray diffraction techniques, which would help her later with her biggest scientific discovery. After her work in France, Franklin returned to London to work at King's College. Here she used the X-ray diffraction method to study the structure of DNA. Rosalind's work showed that the structure of DNA was a double helix, like a ladder twisted into a spiral. This was different from all the other scientists thinking of DNA at the time. Two other scientists were researching the structure of DNA at the same time as Franklin and her co worker Maurice Wilkins. James Watson and Francis Crick had nearly completed their model of the way they thought DNA looked like, but it wasn't quite right. Without informing Rosalind, Maurice Wilkins showed her work to Watson and Crick, which gave them the final piece of information they needed to share to the world the true structure of DNA. Watson and Crick did not mention Franklin's important contribution to their discovery. She died of cancer when she was just 37 years old. 4 years after her death, Watson, Crick, and Wilkins were awarded the Nobel Prize for solving the structure of DNA. The Nobel Committee does not give prizes to people who have died. Franklin's scientific achievements with coal chemistry and virus structure research were substantial, and her peers acknowledged this during her life and after her death. But it was her role in the discovery of DNA structure that has garnered the most public attention. Although Crick, Watson, and Wilkins received the 1962 Nobel Prize for Physiology or Medicine for their work on the structure of DNA, none gave Franklin credit for her contributions at the time the reward was given. The scientific community has tried to right these men's wrongs by being very deliberate in their recording of colleagues' contributions in their work, so no one else will be denied the true credit for their scientific discoveries. In a letter to her father, Rosalind shared, "Science and everyday life cannot and should not be separated. Science for me gives partial explanation of my life. Insofar as it goes, it is based on fact, experience, and experiment." The fact of Rosalind's discovery of DNA structure made her initially an unsung scientist, but now more and more people are learning about this remarkable woman scientist. Thanks for listening to my first Unsung Scientist podcast. Join us next time when we will discuss Percy Julian and his remarkable scientific discovery. Keep singing about science.